Welcome back to the Puck Bunker. This is episode 41. I'm Rocco Zappia, joined as always by my co-host, the man who was once abducted by pirates only to emerge as their leader 7 days later, Darren Boyce. How you doing today?
Sounds like another coup, eh?
The man knows his way around taking charge of a situation. I'll give him that. How are we doing today? We got a good little episode lined up. We're going to do a top 10 feature today, and we're going to focus on the guys that, admittedly, we're probably in the camp of giving them a pretty hard time. For the most part, we're focused on the smaller players in the draft today. So we're going to do our top 10 smaller guy list. Our qualification is you have to be both measured at the combine under 6 feet. So right up to 5'11 and 3/4 qualifies, and right up to 199 pounds qualifies. The only guy who was under 6 feet and over 200 pounds was Ryabkin. So he's not in this list because he's over 200 pounds already. So that took him off the little guy list. So everyone on this list, sub 6 foot measured, official at the combine, and under 200 pounds. I'm going to put the list up here so we can follow along. Got a lot of comments in our year-end videos. Hey guys, this is great, but put the fucking list up, you idiots. So we're going to take your advice, guys, and here's a list for you, and we'll go through it so it's a little easier to follow along than the last few times we did this. So we actually, for a rare time, other than maybe one spot, 7 and 8 is the only spot we disagreed, and maybe 9 and 10. We'd have those flipped around respectively, but for the most part, we agreed on this list start to finish, and certainly 1 to 6 we had them in a pretty similar order here. So James Hagens was unanimous, our number 1. He came in, I believe, at 5'10 and a half at the combine. So obviously not a huge guy, but look, this is the guy who is probably has the best hands in the draft, and certainly the best hands at top speed. He's a dynamic offensive player, and for everything that we've given him a hard time about this year, this guy, we're at some point after the draft, we're going to put out our fantasy rankings, and this guy's going to be really, really, really high on our fantasy rankings, probably first or second overall. Spoiler alert. So James Hagens is one of the most purely talented offensive players in this entire draft class, and certainly the most talented under 6 foot. So that was a unanimous number 1. Boyce, you want to take us through your thoughts on number 2, Victor Eklund?
Well, again, I think there's kind of a tier here, right? I think depending on who you're talking to, probably a tier, maybe 11 or 12 guys kind of, and that, I think both of these guys are top 12 picks, obviously. In terms of Hagens, I think he's been there might be just a little bit of he's been around too long bias starting to creep in here. Yeah. And I know I've been hard on him. I was hard on him to start the year. I mean, we were one of the first ones that were kind of like, he isn't the first overall pick. But look, there's concerns about him because he is 5'10 and a half. And the thing that I find interesting is Eklund's the one who kind of gets hammered for that he's small.
Eklund's bigger than him.
Eklund is taller than him. Yes. Now Eklund is a winger, and the smaller winger thing is, I think, kind of the issue that some people have. So I would expect Eklund to probably get.
He's also not as talented as Hagens.
No, but I also think his game translates a lot easier to the NHL than Hagens does. I think you can see how Eklund plays will be successful. He doesn't have the upside that Hagens has. But, I mean, this is a guy with a really high work rate. He's going to, be a complete nuisance to play with. And he has skill. Like, he can score. He's already playing pro and played quite well. He played in the World Juniors, played just as well as Hagens did. Again, maybe didn't put up the point totals against weaker teams that Hagens did. I'm sorry to call that out again.
He was like more consistently effective.
Yes, but again, it's a different type of game. And the thing with Hagens is that there is the potential he can play center there. Eklund, there is not. And I think that's kind of the difference between them. Now, I have a lot more question marks apparently than most people do about him playing center. I do think that is a legitimate issue with him. And if you think he's a center, if a team thinks he's a center, they can pick him up to his probably third. Like he could go third if you think he's a center. There's probably teams that don't think he's a center, though. I think that's actually quite reasonable to think that. And therefore, those teams might have him down more like 8, 9. I think that is actually quite possible that is the case on some boards. Because it's a 5'10" winger, Rocco. We've had this. He's a 5'10" winger.
I don't.
If they don't think he's a center, like that is an extreme possibility.
Darren, he might be the most purely skilled offensive player in the whole draft. I don't think there's like 8, 9 is, I think, a little unreasonable in terms of even how much. I think the first one to hammer on a smaller guy who doesn't necessarily go the hardest all the time. And
I'm not saying I have an 8-9. I don't have an 8-9. I'm saying it's reasonable that a team could think that way because it's a small winger. And again, if he's a centerman, it's different. Like again, if they project him to be a center, he can go third. Like that's it. That's the question they have to ask themselves, because he does have great skill. I mean, his at speed, he can do things no one else can. We said that.
Let's not forget how much he tore up his own age group.
Yeah, he could shoot the puck.
The year above him.
Yeah,
well, the draft
got a great shot. Yeah, he lit up the U18s, his own age group.
Yeah,
which he's not getting the recency bias of some other guys they're getting right now, like Brady Martin, who's getting the recency bias on that, where Hagens doesn't get it because he's.
I was waiting for that to come up.
Well, it's true. Like that is what's happening with him. His team his team lost in the first round of the playoffs, so he gets the U18 bump. Like that's what happened.
Okay, well, we're doing that with Reschny too.
It is a bit, but he also had a good playoff, played 2 rounds, and then came up and still played sick.
The one extra round makes a difference for you?
It does a bit.
Why? Martin was on a brutal team, dude. They suck.
Okay. Okay. Fine. If you say so. I don't think Martin has the playmaking ability of any of these guys.
No, but do you think Sioux was were they good this year? Were they a threat? Well, they were a run-of-the-mill playoff team, low seed playoff team, right?
They were a lower seed play. Look, he played well in the U18s. He's getting the bump because he played in the U18s because his team sucked.
Yes.
Like, whereas like James Hagens played last year, so everyone forgets that he holds the record for that tournament.
Yes.
For points. Like, that's what's happened here. He doesn't get the recency bias out of this. The last time we saw Brady Martin play, he looked outstanding. So he gets, like, now everyone just assumes he's outstanding, where we're not really looking at the actual full body of work of him at some points here.
I think, and we're so off track already, but that's fine. I think that like Martin is getting the recency bias based off his own play, but everyone is also watching these greasy little fuckers in Florida.
Yes.
And conversely, the greasy fuckers at Edmonton. And this is just like a highly skilled, super greasy Stanley Cup finals. And everyone's like looking, who would fit in well on these rosters? And it's Brady Martin. So that's
we are getting off topic here. But I will also point out that the Brady Martins, like the Sam Bennett of the Florida Panthers, isn't their best forward. Like their best forward is a number 1 huge lug of a centerman named Alex Barkov. Like that is their best player.
Okay, so teams will know that, but fans of the teams, if he gets picked really high, the fans of the team will have the expectation that they're drafting like one of the top 2 cornerstone pieces. Yeah. Whereas the team drafts him saying, okay, we got an important piece of the puzzle. Whereas the fans might be hoping if he's picked in the top 5, they're like, oh, we got the piece. Well, he's not the guy, but he can be one of the important guys. And a team is going to take that safely because they know that he'll fit in as like a cornerstone piece of, hey, this guy is going to, whatever role it is he's going to really help us win when it matters. So I think there is going to be a discrepancy between what the fans might expect of a high pick and what the teams know they're picking.
There's definitely going to be, especially when, say, someone, again, James Hagens is the elite offensive potential guy, but he's smaller. But he could be the guy that, again, he has a really good highlight reel. Like he can put up points. He has at least against his age group, He did play college this year, so he didn't have the point totals that he might have in the CHL.
Phil Kessel.
Yeah, like this, I think probably at worst he's a Phil Kessel type. Like he can do.
Worst. That's a career point of game player. That'd be a pretty good turnout.
Do you think he can do that? Yeah, I do.
I do. I think he could be that. But that's what I mean. I think he's a good comp of a guy that's highly skilled, an insanely skilled offensive winger, but who's just not like,
or at least his best years can be Phil like. Like I don't think
but Phil was most effective playing with a guy like you said, and everybody would be like when Phil wasn't expected to be the number one player on the team is when he really thrived.
So the other thing I will say, you can still win Stanley Cups.
Well, I think Hagens could be the best player on his team. Like I don't doubt that he has that skill.
Possible, but you can still win Stanley Cups with a James Hagens 5'10" type winger if he's really supremely skilled and he's a big time point getter and he's a threat on the power play and he's not a complete hole defensively.
Well, as long as and this is something that's a question to be answered because you don't know until you're put in that situation what kind of medal they got really. But is he going to be able to find his way to the middle of the ice in the playoffs? And I think. Look, I've actually done a lot of research into looking into what people say about him, and by all accounts, he's a very highly competitive and fiery kid, right? And I think you and I need to keep in mind that he's playing against guys 5 years older than him, and
we do.
And maybe the lack of going into the corners and battling super hard is because he's a teenage kid playing against men, essentially in college, right? Some of these lower paired defensemen stuff are older.
But that's what tells me though, Rocco, is he's also aware of what he needs to work on because he
I know.
So
I hammered on him all year, and now he's creeping back up towards the top.
Yeah, I'm not he's look.
There's
some people again, and I brought up he can go 8th or 9th. Like I think that's outrageous if that happened. Like he shouldn't.
I don't think he can't get past Nashville, dude. He can't.
But now look, do I think there's guys that if they hit or if their growth potential hits could project to be more impactful NHL players than him? Yes, I do.
Yeah,
but he's again
so good today.
Yeah, but it's just again, you're looking at he's going to gain about 10 more pounds probably and play at 190, 195. There's not a ton of growth potential here. The growth potential is all in the details of his game. That's really where it is.
But now here's the thing with a guy who is just that gifted offensively, and I've said this before, why the hell would he need to have great details up until this point in his career? Wouldn't need to. He's just better than everybody, right?
Well, so again, it's okay.
The nice thing about details is they're pretty fucking coachable. It's not that hard to learn sound defensive positioning when you have NHL coaching staff around you to teach you how to do it, right? It's really not. You either buy in and choose to do it or you don't. So as long as he chooses to, he'll be just fine. But I think that I don't know, the more I look into the kid and stuff, I actually do think there's a pretty competitive, fiery guy here who knows what he needs to work on and is willing to.
In my opinion, there is basically a 3 to 7, in my opinion. Some people might say 8. You can take whoever you want. It really is just how you've projected the player. James Hagens is in that category. I don't think he's the top 2 guy in this draft. I think the other guys have, Schaefer, Mies have shown that they are better, or not even better than him. It's just more potential.
I don't think he's a great fit for Chicago, but I could see him going anywhere else.
Yeah. I don't either. But if they want to take him, go ahead. There's going to be
if they're just taking the most talented guy available, that's probably who it is.
That's the most offensive upside. Absolutely. Whereas Eklund, again, I think Eklund's he'll play. I think he'll play effectively. I think he's kind of a second line winger. He'll score some goals. He'll muck it up. He'll do everything well. You'll love the player. You pick him at 10 or 11, the team will love him. I don't see the, 80 type point upside you get with Hagens, stuff like that. But I think this is an NHL player that's quite effective. He's just a winger. So again, it's the smaller wingers, unfortunately, they're probably the least valuable of a tier to NHL teams than center and D in that. So that's it's unfortunate to him that's what's happening there.
They're the easiest to find.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for him, but that's why he's fallen. He's fallen, no fault of his own, just to the end of that tier is because of that.
Look, I don't think I'm going to end up having him in my top 10.
But yeah, but that's why though. Like he's going to be like that 10-11 pick, and that's why.
I could see
like,
I could see him 13, 14. Like guy like Hellenius happened to him last year, dude. He fell. He was highly ranked by everybody all year. But what?
Yeah.
Small. So
that's for new. But it is again, and that. But you're kind of making my point with Hagens. Like if you actually think he's a winger, like if enough teams think he's a winger, that could happen to him.
It changes the value.
It does change the value. Now, I don't think that'll happen because I think there'll be some teams that are think he can play center, in my opinion. But that would be the issue. Like, the offense, like the Hawks going to actually draft him to play center. Like they're going to have him and Bedard playing center. Like that, I don't know, man.
No.
Like, so anyway, that's that tier. I mean, both are good prospects. They're different, but I mean, they're both quite good prospects. Wherever, like again, depends where I'm drafted. I'd be happy with each of them. Pretty.
Now, number 3, we agreed on number 3. So we've got the first 3 here, consensus. Cole Reschny.
3 to 6 are in the same tier, kind of here. By the way,
okay, I disagree.
You do? Okay,
I do. I think Reschny is clearly.
You think he's above the others?
I'm okay. Very, in my opinion,
I have him ranked higher, but I don't know if it's like that much higher than that.
Well, I don't know if it may not be more than a few spots, but like the other 3 guys, I have some time to actually debate what order they go in. Whereas for me, like Reschny is ahead of Potter, Cootes, and Kindel. I think for like his playmaking is so okay. So Potter has a skating, but Cole Reschny is a good enough skater. He's a plus skater for sure. And I think his processing speed is much quicker. I think his vision is probably, I would say
he's
top.
The best. I just say it. He's the best vision in the draft. He's the best He's the best playmaker.
I mean, Jake O'Brien might have something to say about that there, Darren.
I think he's a better in zone playmaker than him. I'll say it. I'll say it.
Anyways, they're right there. They're at the top, but that I think is the difference for me, is that if I have a small guy now, Potter again, he has the dynamic ability that you look for. If you're going to be small, you better be dynamic as fuck. You better be tough as nails, or you better be smart as hell. And Reschny has a bit of a dynamic edge to him. I don't know, like he doesn't have quite the same straight line speed as Potter, but he is pretty damn shifty in tight spaces, and he knows how to buy himself time, which is what really matters. And I think his hockey sense is just so, especially offensively, is just so superb that like I think this guy belongs in the top 20 despite being really fucking tiny.
Okay, so he grew, first of all.
Great.
His combine stats say he grew.
Great. Good.
So he's no longer 5'9". I think he's like 5'10" and a half or something.
Yeah. Same size as Hagens, I think.
Yeah. So every inch he gains is like, that's a plus. Like,
it's huge.
Yeah. Everyone knows that he can play make. We said that early in the year, like his playmaking. I'm going to continue to say this. I watched Patrick Kane play junior, and he makes plays like he did in junior. Now, I don't know if again, that's a not saying they're comparable, but it's just he has high end ability offensively.
He's not scared either. He's not scared of
So the other thing with him too, I think there's kind of people think because he's small and he's a small centerman, like, oh, he's kind of weak, like he's not a good defender. I don't actually think that's true. He actually is a very smart defender. He works hard in that end. I mean, he's not going to really out muscle guys, but I mean, he's there. He's aware of what he needs to do. And he's actually like a pretty good centerman. Like he wins a lot of draws. So like, I'm like, do you think he can translate to a center? Like if a team, he can play center.
Yeah. And look, I know Braeden Point is much more like is more of a shooter compared to Reschny, but in the sense that he has the speed to keep up. He has the really, really, really high-end hockey sense. I know Reschny's more of a playmaker and Point's a little more of a shooter, and that's fine. But in terms of being a small guy with really good speed, but not quite the most elite, but a really, really high hockey sense and a very high compete level, and a strong lower body that allows you to kind of get under guys and win battles that way. I think that's kind of a role where I could see him. Okay, I can point to that guy and say, okay, well, there's an example of a guy who made it as a centerman at that size.
Well, the thing is, too, again, I did it. I just did it right now. I'm like, this guy's an elite offensive brain, basically, is basically what I said. Right? Like he
Who do we think has more offensive upside, Eklund or Reschny?
Like Reschny could literally be like an Adam Oates type, man.
Well, Adam Oates is a little bigger.
Yeah, but like the way the amount of points he got. Like, again, I know it's a different era, but like the way that he would get his points. Like
You heard it here first. Cole Reschny, 1,700 points.
No, but again, it's the way he sees the ice. He has an elite trigger man with him. He's going to pile up points. Like, he will find that guy.
So, okay, so like, I'm going to ask you again, who has higher offensive upside, Reschny or Eklund?
Probably Reschny.
Do you see a world, because we just said he might have more offensive upside, we just said he actually has a better chance of being a center. Do you think there's a world where Reschny gets drafted ahead of Eklund?
I don't.
Really?
I just find it could be possible. If we were doing you know what, Rocco? If we were doing a fantasy draft, I would take Reschny ahead of Eklund.
Like I think they're just a little closer than we think.
I think they're both, yeah. They're not that far apart, and at least in my rankings. So
like Reschny's just been ranked by everyone in the 20s all year, and Eklund's been ranked in the the 5 to 10 range.
We do have to take into account,
and I'm wondering if they don't end up both in the teens.
We do have to take into account that Eklund already played pro and like had a really good year playing pro. Like, it's just we can't really ignore that.
No, but that's why you're okay with drafting him in the top 15, because you watch him be okay against men.
I know that he can play. I think would be the answer there. I know Eklund can play.
But that's why people have him ranked so high.
Yeah, because he's safer. He's definitely safer. Whereas like Reschny, again, it's the CHL. We've seen this before where there's guys that dominate offensively and they don't translate, especially against smaller, not the best skiers. But I think his computing in the offensive zone translates. Like, I think he can play on an NHL power play and be probably dynamic on that. He'd be the best decision maker on a lot of teams. So, like, I think that's there. I just don't think he's actually like a bad defender. I think he's actually quite intelligent in the other end. And I don't think that actually gets spoken about a lot with him, is that like he's an intelligent hockey player. It's not just in the offensive zone. Like there's effort there. There's
when you put up 120
where to go.
When you put up 120 points between regular season, playoffs, and international, those are kind of the highlights that get mentioned.
It is the highlights, but I mean, you want to. A lot of people get caught just looking at the highlights. Like, I want to see what's going on behind the play, and like he's not. Again, I hate that. I don't want to slag on him again, but like a Justin Carbonneau guy who's literally crashing the zone every time. Like, he's just leaving the zone. Puts up a bunch of points, but like he's leaving his zone unattended a lot of times. So he's kind of giving them back all the time.
They design that. They have him do that, Darren.
I know they have him do that. I'm just saying. Whereas with Reschny, Reschny's not doing that. Like, he's not just blowing the zone every time for points. Like, well, a lot of his points are actually they get set up in the offensive zone, and he creates there.
A winger is going to have an easier time flying the zone.
It is. The point is he's not a bad defender.
No, he's a good defender.
Like, that's what I'm getting at, and he's smart. So like, I don't know if he even would be like. He's never going to out-muscle guys, but like he could have a low center of gravity. Like, he can at least be a nuisance to guys. And if you're in the right position, that's really what you need. You need him to like funnel him to another guy. That's really what you need to do. So,
yeah. No, I agree. Look, we are big Cole Reschny fans. He had a phenomenal second half of the year, as good as anybody, honestly, in the CHL. He was, in my opinion, Canada's best player at the U18. Brady Martin's getting all the love and attention, but
Reschny was the best player by a mile on that team.
Reschny controlled the pace of play every time he was on the ice.
The entire team was looking to get him the puck. If he was on the ice, everyone was looking to get him the puck.
Well, yeah, because he's the best transporter of it.
Exactly.
Now, but like to Martin's credit, you got to be good enough to play with a really cerebral.
He was great in that role. Excellent.
I think that's a preview of like, yeah, that could be a nice fit for both of them down the line as in terms of style of line mate to play with.
Yeah.
Number 4, 5, 6, I think here we have Cullen Potter 4, Braeden Cootes 5, Ben Kindel 6, and I have had these guys in any possible order throughout the year. And honestly, I may just have Cootes ahead of Potter personally. I know Boyce has Potter ahead of Cootes, but I may just lean Braeden Cootes ahead of Potter. In any case, this is the first time where we've had to really, I don't want to say debate because they are close, but kind of
Cootes
the first three we agreed on.
They're interchangeable though. Like they're not like it. The kind of this is
Depends
going to
what
be
you want.
dependent. It's dependent on who these teams want, really.
Depends what you want.
Yeah.
Now,
So
I will say Potter and Cootes to me have a more distinct elite element. Like Potter has is his skating, Cootes as a super pest. I don't know. Like, look, Kindle's a phenomenal offensive player. He has great hockey sense in the ozone. I just think he's more of a little bit of a well-rounded overall without one really standout trait. Whereas those other two guys, they have a calling card a little bit more, which is why I would have them ahead. But
well, the thing with Potter, for a small guy, I actually think he's him and Cootes are actually both fairly safe. With Potter,
because of that, they have that.
Yeah,
identity.
with Potter, his skating is so good and his effort level is so good. Even though he's small, he's actually quite effective in ways that you don't expect small guys to be effective. So forechecking, he's actually extremely effective because he's on guys so quickly.
Yeah.
And so it kind of counters him being small. And there's a lot of teams that need speed. And it's again, I know size is a big deal. Speed's a big deal in the NHL too. Like we've talked about this with the Sens before. These are two guys that the Sens are going to be looking at, by the way.
I don't know
if Potter and Cootes. I don't think they might not be there, but those are two guys that could potentially be around there.
I don't think the Sens will have any interest in Potter.
Maybe not, but I wouldn't hate the fit with him because he's fast. Like they don't have a guy like that. And so I get that he's smaller, but he still has impact on the game because of his speed. So I like that part. And he can play make a bit. He's very responsible. I think he can probably play center. So, I mean, if you're really into if your whole draft concept is speed, like this is the guy you're taking. He also played college as like basically the youngest person in college. He would have been one of the youngest people playing in that league. And he at not a higher end school. And they did he played a lot and that school did Arizona State wasn't bad.
They're not bad.
No, but he wasn't at one of the top end schools and he played a lot. And again, I think they were top 10 at one point. So, I mean, he challenged himself. He left the U.S. National Development Program to go play college. So, I mean, he's obviously willing to, he's willing to play older guys. He succeeded against older guys. Did he put up a boatload of points? No. But I mean, again, if this is another guy, if he was maybe playing junior and put up, oh, look, this really fast small guy had like 95 points in the queue or something. Like maybe we should take this guy. It's again, he challenged himself and he plays his details are good. Like teams are going to like him. They might not like the size, but I think that kind of gets countered by his speed. Like it's okay.
Do you think there's any world where he slips out of the first round?
Oh my, there is. I'd be taking him though. Like that's like to me, like there's because there is like kind of a cutoff at like 24. It depends on.
I don't know that there is anymore. I don't know.
There is a bit. Like there's guys I'm confident in, and I think here I'll look here. Yeah, it's like 24, 25 for me. And then you're kind of like, okay, like it's like kind of, D you have some questions about, or like
I don't know. I think there's probably
I think
guys who are. I think there's about 27, 28 guys who are pretty good bets to be first rounders here at this point.
I think he should be a first. I think, and again, it's just I think
he should be too.
Yeah.
But
whereas Cootes is again a little bit different. Like again, greasier player, but again, that fits a lot of rules. He'll play center.
See, I see like Cootes. I don't see a world where he gets out of the first round.
No, he's safe.
Whereas Potter, I could.
He's bigger than Potter. He's safe. Like he's gonna play. He's greasy.
He's a nuisance, dude.
Yeah, he's greasy. Like
He's a nuisance. He started off the season by getting tossed out of the Halenka.
Yeah.
Did he get hurt or did he get thrown out?
No, he got kicked out of one of the games. I forget what
Yeah.
he did something. Yeah, he was suspended for a game or two.
Yeah.
Again, Cootes is safer than Potter just because of the size difference, I think. And
doesn't have the same offensive pop.
It's just that elite trait that Potter has is just like it's elite. Like it's the best of any forward, I think. Is there a forward faster than him?
No,
I don't think so.
Schaefer's the only better skater, probably.
Like I don't like that might be like that would be the only like again you're getting like and skating translates and he plays greasy enough as a smaller guy that it like again it's we worry again I always say we worry about small. I'm less worried about him because
he's an elite because he has elite speed. It makes up for a lot.
Yeah, so like it's not hindrance. I think there's going to be teams do focus on speed, so I don't think he falls out of the first round because there's going to be definitely more than enough teams that are folks we need speed.
Now I would say Ben Kindel is within this same tier of player. There was times honestly I had him ahead of Reschny at a certain point in the year. So I think in terms of guys who we are pretty confident will be first rounders, Ben Kindel's in that tier, and then there's a bit of a divide between 6 and the last 4 names on the list. But I'll let you chat about him, what you liked about him.
I mean, he is similar to Reschny. I just think Reschny's better. Like that's really like he's kind of a poor man's Reschny, really.
Well, he's going to be I think more than likely going to be a winger here. Whereas
you have more confidence in Reschny being a center. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. But I mean, just in general, like, again, I think Kindel sees the ice well. I think he's a good playmaker. I think Reschny's an elite playmaker. I think that's just the difference between them here.
Yeah. I just think Reschny's got more of a chance to be inside like a legitimate one of the top 3 point getters on your team. Whereas I see Kindel really like him and what he brings. I don't really think he has necessarily any major, like, I don't know, fatal flaw or anything to his game. But I think maybe he more ends up in the middle of your lineup, where Reschny's got that ability where he might end up towards the top of your lineup if everything pans out.
And the thing is, too, with like Cootes, like I know I can use him in a lower line role and he'll be good. And Potter, I have. Again, there's that elite skill there that I don't think Kindel really has.
No, but he's just very good at everything.
Yeah, which is fine. Like that is an effect. Like that's a good prospect to take. Like you can kind of mold that. The counter to a guy like that is you can mold that guy into something you want because everything's good. So you could kind of focus on one skill or 2 skills if you want, make that one good.
He's also a guy like I think because he has plus attributes pretty much across the board. He could be a pretty good plug and play guy where it's like, okay, all right, coach, where do you need me tonight? Am I playing on line 1 or line 2?
That's the benefit of those guys.
Am I playing on the PP or the PK? Maybe both. Like, I think he can kind of like fit in where you need him. And
that's the benefit of a guy like him, right? Like you're not bad at anything. So the coach likes you because it's like, well, like we have a problem. Like, we'll put him there. And it just kind of solves everything for him. But I mean, he's not the biggest guy, so he's got some stuff to like.
Nobody on this list is.
No one is the biggest guy. I know that, but I mean,
this is in fact the anti-biggest guy list.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think his skating's elite. I think that's more the issue there. Like, and with Reschny, because you have the high end playmaking, it's okay. Whereas I'm a little bit more concerned with Kindel because again, it's really good playmaking. It's just not the same level.
Reschny's a little bit better skater.
Yeah, I think so. A
little more stronger. Yeah. Now, number 7 and 8 here. We agree that they're the next 2 names, although we have them in different order. Boyce has Schmidt 7 and Epperson 8. I would personally have Epperson ahead of Schmidt. But let's talk about those 2 guys since we disagree. Maybe you want to chat quickly about Schmidt, and I'll touch on Epperson.
I will restate that I still do have to watch Epperson again. I've watched all these guys a few more times than Epperson now, so I do want to go back and kind of watch his playoffs a little bit. I mean, the reason for Schmidt in my mind to be above him, I just think, again, the elite skill thing. He is 5'7", which is a big problem, but at least there is that I do think there's an elite skill there with the shot. Whatever other people say in the draft here, this is the best shooter. He has the best shot. I'm still going to continue to say he beats guys from everywhere. And he doesn't, and he doesn't shot hunt as much as other guys. Like
he doesn't shot hunt.
Yeah, when he takes his no, not like other guys.
He doesn't shot hunt, Darren.
He shot hunts enough, but no, okay.
Who shot hunts more?
Who? Carbonneau?
Other than him, who?
There's a few guys that shot hunt.
Yeah, who?
You putting me on the spot, eh?
I am, because I think after Carbonneau, he shot hunts the most.
Misa shot hunts a lot.
No, way better playmaker, though.
He is a better playmaker. Okay. The point is with him, when he shoots the puck, but Rocco, when he shoots the puck, like
it's dangerous. I know.
He's dangerous.
I know.
And like it doesn't matter where it's from, it's dangerous. And goalies cannot react to it. Whereas these other guys I've seen, the goalies can react to it. Like he can change shot angles with his stick handle. Like he's good at that. He's got a one-timer. He's good in front of the net if he's like, tap into stuff like that. Good hands there. Can rip pucks from anywhere in the offensive zone, and he can score.
So here's my plead for Epperson, because you are right in your analysis for Schmidt. Like I get it. If he hits as a goal scorer, you're looking at a guy who's going to be 30 plus year in, year out. My question is, and this is thinking a little too far ahead because you draft, I know you have him on a cheap deal for a few years and this and that, but like, I don't know, do I want to pay a guy that size at the rate of a 30 goal scorer? And like,
well, this is the issue with him, is that Schmidt has flaws. Like he's 5'7". I don't think he's greasy enough as he needs to be at that size to be higher on this list. I know on some lists he's much higher.
So there's a great segue, because you use the word greasy, and that's exactly what my point for Epperson was going to be. This guy is a greasy piece of shit when he wants to be, and I just love that about him. He is not the biggest guy, obviously, can't be to be on this list, but he's tough, he's solid. He's got a very strong lower body. He can get low in battles. He digs. He'll be the first guy in a corner. If his teammate gets hit, he's going to two-hand you back and deal with the consequences later, which I really respect about him. He has no issue mucking it up. So like, I really love his B game. If Schmidt doesn't hit as a scorer, I don't want much to do with him. Whereas if Epperson doesn't become an offensive player, which he may not, I still really love his ability to impact the game as a complete fucking nuisance to play against. So
listen, I wouldn't be shocked if I watch Epperson here again and rank him higher than Schmidt. I really wouldn't be shocked if I do that. I mean, during the year, I really liked Epperson's playmaking. I thought it was underrated.
It is.
Like, I thought he was actually quite dynamic in the offensive zone, both standing still and on the rush. I thought he made really good decisions. He could be a power play decision maker. I mean, they weren't just letting Misa do that. Like, he was doing that as well.
No, and I think anyone who's watched us even a little bit all year knows that we're Kristian Epperson fans, generally speaking.
Now, he's older. He's a redraft, so there's that. I mean, he should be a second-round pick. I mean, I've heard some people, like, not people, but I mean, there was rumors that maybe there was like a character issue going on. Like, I don't know, but like,
okay, and you know what? And that's fine. I'm not gonna. I don't think we should maybe speculate on that. Like,
I definitely speculate. I don't know if that's actually true.
I haven't heard any kind of concrete information about that one way or the other. But
he's good. Like he's a good player, and there's more room for him to survive. There's more room for him to survive.
That's a big thing that we're not privy to, doing this kind of thing, whereas teams are, and they get to interview the kids and have a lot more insight into. I'm not suggesting there are any off-ice issues. I'm just saying that we don't really take that, unless there's something clearly major that everybody knows about, we don't really take that into consideration.
If we did know something, we would at least state that we heard from some random person. So, but we don't actually know. So anyway, he should be a second-round pick. We've said that for a while.
Said that first week of the season.
Yeah, he's a good player. So 9 and 10. Now this is my controversial take.
Yeah, I have these guys the other way around as well. Like, I've got Ivankovic ahead of Rimpinen. However, Darren, the weirdo goalie guru, take it away.
Here's the thing. I still see Ivankovic in a lot of lists, like in the first 2 rounds, right? Like he is kind of there.
How often are the public lists right, Darren, after the first 20 picks?
I'm just going to state again, Ivankovic he's a smaller goaltender. His perception is a lot different than how he played this year. He did not have a good year in junior. Like he did. And again, I know their team had defensive miscues. Whenever I watched him, he struggled.
But he was phenomenal for when he put on a Canada jersey.
He was. Now, the counter to that, when he's playing on Team Canada, he's playing in front of a really good defensive roster every time he's playing for them, which is fine. Like that translates a bit. Again, I don't think he's a bad prospect.
No,
at all. Now, when returns are talking about the goaltender itself, like to me, Ivankovic is kind of clunky in his movement. Like he's not the best mover in this draft and he's smaller. So if I don't think he's one of the best athletic movers in the draft, then that makes it really hard for me to be drafting as high as it's seen that he might be. So that's my issue. He has really good legs though. Like again, when he's making saves with his legs in his butterfly, he's quite good.
He's very polished, I find.
Yeah, and again, he's very calm in the net. Like he's shown that in Canada numerous times when he's been under pressure. Mind you, again, I do think he did lose against Latvia this year, but anyway. Sorry to throw that one out there. My bad. But here's the problem: Petteri Rimpinen was the best goaltender in that tournament.
The World Juniors.
He was the best goaltender in that tournament. He's been playing pro. He's been really good in pro. He stole a starting job in pro in Finland. And I believe he might have been rookie of the year this year. Again, that might be speculation.
He was passed over last year. He's a re-entry.
He was passed over last year. Watching him play, he reads the game extremely well. I don't question him movement-wise as much as I question Ivankovic, and he's done it against better competition. So to me, like he's the better goaltender, and I think he's actually the better prospect because I've seen it at a much higher level. Now the counter is that people again, I'm gonna throw out the Don here, but I mean we have his dad is basically texting the Don that he can grow because he's 6'4". Also concerns me that the father is just texting everyone that he can grow to 6'4".
Okay. Well, can we not go there, please?
Anyway, the point is, I think there's a thought that he might grow. I think that's what I'm getting at, is that some people are actually banking that he might grow.
He might not, but I'm evaluating what I see here.
I'm evaluating what I see too. So to me, he's not.
If he's 6'5", he's the top of the second round into the first round.
Legitimately, he would be one of he'd be probably the number one goalie off the board. If he was 6 foot, if he was 6'2", he might be.
Well, if my aunt had wheels, she'd be a bike. So
yeah, well, Cameron Schmidt was 6'3", he'd probably be top 10 pick.
Yeah,
so, that's just it is. That's what's in front of us, right? So again, both of those guys I think are third round goaltenders for me.
So your thing with Rimpinen is the athleticism.
It's not the athletic. He reads the game better. Like he's really good at knowing what's going on around him. A lot of good awareness. He's smart. And we talked to Chuck about that. What skill that he liked. Again, there's some skills we talked about, and analyzing how they're going to develop. But one thing he really did fixate on was awareness and ability to kind of see the game, what was going on in front of him.
Yeah.
It wasn't just pure athleticism on his part. Like there was that whole other aspect of the game that he spoke about. This guy has that. That's why he's successful. Because he's and again,
he could do it in the men's league this year and
exactly
take it out, like you said.
I mean, do I think, again, it's definitely worth a team to be picking him in the third round. He's playing pro. Like you could probably get an NHL ready goaltender in a couple years out of this guy, and you don't have to do any work with it. Yeah. They'll do it for you.
Do you think he's got starter potential?
Well, that's the issue here, right? Do I think he could be a platoon guy? Yeah. I think that's a possibility.
Is that worth drafting?
In the third round? Yeah.
Why can't you
45 starter
why
guy?
can't you sign a guy like that?
45 starts? Playing 45 games? Absolutely.
Yeah.
The third round. You're happy if you get a guy who plays.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like
a
45 game goaltender is very valuable.
Will there not be a better upside skater there, though?
In the third round? Probably not.
Maybe not.
But you're kind of making the point for me is why Ivankovic probably shouldn't be in the second round. Is because there probably is a higher upside skater to take, or both those guys probably shouldn't be in the second round because there's like, I don't see Ivankovic as a 60 game starter. No. So like if he's a platoon guy, is there what part of the draft is that where, you know, we're like, okay, we have a platoon goalie. Where do we take that guy, or we take our?
No, that's fair. That is fair. So that's our top 10 players in the 2025. Oh, we got one more. We got an honorable mention. I almost forgot. We got to wrap it up shortly. We got another one to record.
Oh, we got enough time.
But honorable mention to Philippe Veilleux, because we do not tolerate the QMJHL slander.
No, we're not letting that go.
No, quit ragging on the Q. It's a good league, everybody. It's better than the USHL. It's all fucking USHL guys who rag on the Q, and it's a better league than that. So let's
get really odd that they want all the Canadian guys to go to the NCAA. Eh? That's weird.
Boys, you can't start a border war with our wonderful viewers here. Let's keep this on the rails. Why? You know, we both decided we pick an honorable mention, and we picked the same guy, so we just have one honorable mention. So we agree on that. Pure upside offensive player. Boys, tell us a little bit about Philippe.
Yeah, so this guy's 5'9". So he's a winger. He played for Val d'Or, had 40 goals and 47 assists, so 87 points this year. I mean, this is a dynamic offensive player. And he's 17. He's not 18. Like, he's a 2007 birthday.
Hot take. You ready for a hot take?
What's your hot take?
Philippe Veilleux is what everyone wants Cameron Schmidt to be.
Ooh, interesting. So
I don't know if I even believe that or not, but it's a hot take.
So I'm just going to say a couple things here. From what I've seen out of any of the draft eligible Q guys that I've watched, he is the best offensive player out of any of them.
Out of more than Desnoyers, Carbonell, and Zonin.
Like, he has the most offensive skill. He's 5'9" and doesn't have the other parts of his game. But if we're talking about pure offensive potential here, this guy's an elite playmaker. He's an elite puck handler. He can shoot the puck, and he's always open.
Did you watch Justin Poirier at all last year?
Yeah, I did. Think he's like him?
I'm asking you.
Yeah, could be. Possibly. Yeah, I guess that's not a bad comp.
Middle of the draft guy with some upside. You got Carolina Hurricanes written all over it. Analytics guy, probably.
So what I'm going to say with him, if you're looking for a pick in the middle rounds of the draft, because this guy's going to fall, obviously, because he's 5'9", though he is in the second round on Craig Button's list. I am actually going to point that out.
Yeah, but Cameron Schmidt's in the top 10.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, fine. I guess that doesn't mean as much as it should. But
we're big fans of Craig Button.
I do like Craig Button's the best. My bad. I love Craig. Look, he has really good offensive upside. He doesn't get the Team Canada jump that Cameron Schmidt does because he never plays for him, which, by the way, I'm a little puzzled as to why he doesn't. Because he is an elite player. Like, he drives possession in that league. Like, he is driving offensive play on that.
Well, why does Zana never get calls for Team Canada?
Well, look, I'm just stating.
Conspiracy, Darren.
Look, he's a better playmaker than Cameron Schmidt is. He's better at most of the offensive zone stuff other than the shot, but he still has a pretty good shot and he gets it off quickly. It's not elite. But you watch this guy in a power play, like, he is just whipping it around. He's finding seams. Like, he makes the right decision a lot of the time. He can puck handle away from guys. He's just smaller. I've liked him, obviously. Like, I mean, we have him as an honorable mention here. Again, he's 5'9". So it's just, I think this is maybe a guy you might see get taken in the middle rounds here. Has some offensive upside that maybe you don't like. Again, we've talked about, there's not a lot of offensive upside in a lot of these guys here. This might be a shot some team takes. I mean, he scored 40 goals.
I think he did enough to get himself drafted. And honestly, after the first round, getting drafted is the same ticket to Dev Camp as anyone else. He did enough this year to hear his name called, so he's worthy of an honorable mention. That's Philippe Veilleux of the Val d'Or Foreurs. That is our top 10 players in the 2025 NHL Draft who are both under 6 feet tall and 200 pounds. Quick recap: James Hagens, followed by Victor Eklund, Cole Reschny. We agree on those top 3. Boyce has Potter 4 and Cootes 5. I've got Cootes 4 and Potter 5. We both have Kindel at 6. I've got Epperson 7 and Schmidt 8. Boyce has Schmidt 7 and Epperson 8, with a caveat that he needs to watch Epperson again and might change his mind because he doesn't want to stick to his guns. Number 9, we've got Petteri Rimpinen, followed by Jack Ivankovic, and again, honorable mention to Philippe Veilleux from Val d'Or. So that is
show him, Phil. Show him,
Phil. That's it. We're gonna go for now. Thanks for sticking around, boys. Thanks as always. Get these guys on your fantasy list. They can mostly all pop them in. So good guys to have. See you next time.
See you later.